Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Welcome to this very special interview. I'm here with uh, Dylan and Danielle from the Hood Therapy Podcast. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey. All right.
What's up?
Good. So, just tell me a little bit how you came up with the idea to start this podcast.
Okay. I guess we'll start. Like, to be honest, we've technically been a podcast for years. Like, Danielle's been my longtime friend, before we started dating, we've been friends forever, and all we ever talk about is really like things beyond the surface of what it seems like, so it was, for me, I can speak for me, and I'm pretty sure this applies for both of us. It was like, these are conversations that are so vital and important to really helping people have a new perspective on life and how things go. Because we're not talking about things that everybody else is talking about. We're talking about the things that nobody else wants to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And I think that helped us. Like, we saw, like, damn, people really need to hear what we have to say. So what is a way that we get our opinions and our ideas and our values out there to people so that they can make different decisions? And also, I think that people are stuck on thinking that you can't be in love when you're young, or love can't be found when you're young. Especially people in church who, bash you for saying that, oh, you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, you're fast, or, you're this and you're that, you know what I mean? And I think we really wanted to show that love is the cure to, like, everything. You know what I'm saying? We need love to survive. And because God is love, and I feel like we have achieved that at a very early age, and we just wanted people to know and to show people what we're doing.
Okay. Wow, that's real deep, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We be talking all the time. We'll be talking all the time, and like it's just like we should record this. Like This is like we go into conversations like all the time. Like whether it's just me and him, or it's like our friends around us, especially when we're in college, and it's like we're having a group study session, and because I take philosophy, I had to take a philosophy class, so I'm always like in that mind space, and I'm like, yo, how you feel about this? How you feel about this? And we just really unpacked everything, and that was, everybody's like, yo, like we should record this. We should go on live right now. Like that's always been. It was just like, nah, we should really start this. So, and we did.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you, in making this podcast, did you receive any opposition from like close friends or family?
No. I don't really think, to be honest, I didn't even tell my my close friends are people that I have these conversations with all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really have a big circle or anything like that. Like, it's really just like Danielle, and I have like a couple of other friends, you know what I'm saying? And we're the ones that are always having these very deep conversations. So they were like, we're all like, yo, this should get out there. So I think I really only told people that I knew wanted to see me do this. I didn't really tell people that would have a negative, I guess, approach. Like, oh, everybody has a podcast, or like, if you think like that, then I don't feel like you're intellectually capable to like speak to me. You know what I'm saying? If your mindset is that you shouldn't start something because another person is doing it, like, everybody's not doing everything that's going on. outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do anything that nobody's doing. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that personally for me, I didn't really tell anybody that. It was really between us because we were so sure that our content is gonna be so good that we don't have to worry about who is saying what, or like, personally, we really don't care. What do you think? Is that true?
What was the last thing?
I said,
we definitely don't care. But
yeah, like we don't care about any of that. Like,
okay.
It's, I feel like we're really confident in our content. So, yeah.
I think that's a wonderful point that you made. I feel like this podcast is going to help a lot of young people that are struggling with a lot of issues. I happen to be on Instagram right now for hood therapy, and it says the more mentally ill you are, the more broken your home will be. It takes mental wealth to produce healthy home environments, not age or money.
That's deep.
Who, deep, right? Who would like to explain this? First of all,
that's funny.
Who actually wrote this one? Is it you, sir?
Did I write that?
I don't even remember. I think it was. I know. It was definitely you. It was definitely you.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Okay. And I want to read one more thing, right? It says people think because they're paying the bills and doing the bare minimum that they're doing what they need to do for their kids. If there's no love, all that overtime is in vain. Go get your hours back, sweetheart. And the funny thing about it is that I see people at work like, yeah, yo, I'm taking in this extra time. And these are people that I don't even think have kids. They're just like, yo, I'm putting this extra time trying to get this extra money. But what happens when you're constantly working like 70 hours per week? Like, you don't even have time to spend with your family. What's really the point of going out there? Like, the money's good, but it's like you barely got time to spend it. You're not going on vacation. One day you could just go and drop dead.
Yeah.
Looking at that, what's your philosophy for yourself in terms of work?
You want to go first?
Okay. For me, it's like, put in the time. Work is essential. You know what I mean? You got to make the money to provide. That's something you always have to do. But at the same time, there always needs to be a balance. And you can't be spending too much time doing one thing and not the other. So while you're out working, you don't have to do that extra day overtime. I'm telling you, your child will do fine without the toy. I'm fine with one less Christmas gift. I'm telling you, what that really, really wants is that love and attention, because that is what will take him through the world. Those toys, he will leave that behind. He won't grow out of it. He will not even like it, or she will not even like it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that love and attention that's really gonna grow your child into who they become.
Right.
Yeah. It's the same for me. I feel that, I mean, money to me doesn't have value. I feel like money only has value when you give it value. If we're being honest, it's just paper, and I feel like people are so fixated on the concept of what money is, and not really what understanding that money just enhances the person that you are now, and so now that I'm broke, I'm not gonna lie, I don't got no money, but I honestly say this, I honestly feel rich, I honestly feel like I feel so content, you know what I mean? Because I know what it takes to, I've experienced what it's like to be broke, and I've handled it very well. You know what I'm saying? I've been at the worst place and I've kind of conquered it. So it's like when I get to that place where I have the money, it's just gonna allow me to do what I'm doing now, just at a more magnified level. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if you can change the world when you're broke, like the damage you can do when you really afford it, is crazy, you know. So I feel like, I mean, my drive is to just make money to fuel this. Like, I'm passionate about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate about like helping people with my words, you know. So whatever it is that I have to do to invest in this is what I'm gonna work towards, you know.
Right. I think that's a wonderful sentiment that you just gave. You know, as you were saying that, I was thinking of a conversation that I had with a coworker, right?
Mm.
Like, right now, we know that the world is kind of in ruin, and
Mm.
a lot of people, they're worried about their money. And I'm not talking about everyday working people. I'm talking about people in the government, a lot of these country club, golf swing type of people, you know, that
Mm.
if they lost everything, they wouldn't be able to survive off PB&J. But us, because, you know, we've been through it all, it's like, yo, if you lose the money, it's not like you've really lost anything at all, because it's like you have the survival skills. Some of these people are like, yo, I can't eat regular food. Like, I'm used to having filet mignon and steak,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But me, I'll be fine with tuna fish. If something happens to me,
Yeah.
like, yo, I got 10 cans right here. Get some onions, chop it up, get some bread, a little bit of light mayo, and that's it.
Yup, the mayo, yup.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to learn how to make things work. And a
Yeah.
lot of people, you know, their hearts turn cold because of money. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
problem is, I saw a video the other day, right? Good thing that this post here mentioned love, right? This child got, I guess, some Vans, right? And he was
Mm-hmm.
6 years old. He cursed his mother like, yo, I didn't want this blank. He's like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, you don't want it? You want the Jordan? Son. He was like, yeah, I want that blank. I'm like, and he's 6 years old. And I'm like, how dare
Uh-huh.
you? Your mom's works hard to get you these sneakers, and that's how you talk to her?
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I also blame the parent, because sometimes you could be around your kid and just some word slips out and they pick that up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem. You have to, like, showing your child love is not buying them everything they want. That's why a lot of these dudes, they come out spoiled. You got a lot of these dudes that are mama's boys,
Mm-hmm.
living with women, but yet they broke. They trying to drive their girl's car. You know, she gives them money. It's like, you have to be able to stand up as a man. And
Yeah.
what's worse is that, you know, there's some dudes, they can't stand the fact when they're in a relationship with a woman that has kids, that they're not the main priority. What are you, a child, or are you a man? You know, personally,
Wow, wow, wow.
I want to interview you. Damn.
like, if you have no love in your heart, how good are you as a man? How good are you gonna be when it comes time for you to have children? Because
Yeah.
some dudes are good at making babies, but what about the connection with the kid?
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel
No,
like,
facts, man.
you
You go
know,
ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was just agreeing with you. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like your podcast is going to, like, it's going to shape a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, I myself, I don't have the best podcast in the world. I mean, I haven't done it in a while. Most of the time, you might hear me from doing my lives, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's one moment where I feel confident in what I'm doing, and there's other times where I'm like, I know there's certain areas that I can polish up. Because the thing is that, God forbid, I give somebody the wrong type of advice, and you know, they get upset with me or something. So I always try to make sure whatever advice that I give, I try to be neutral. I come from a neutral standpoint. It's never to attack anybody or
Yeah.
to hurt anybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But just the fact that, you know, when you're looking at the word hood, right? It's like, you figure, you know, bunch of brothers and sisters, black in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? And then you think of therapy. Never would I think that those two words would fit together, because it's like a lot of black people don't like going to therapy. A
Therapy.
lot of black people are dealing with mental health issues.
Yeah.
A lot of black people are going through um, mental and physical abuse in their homes, and they can't talk about it. God forbid somebody goes and blabs it and they come out to the street. But we've come to a point now where we have mental health clinics to help out our brothers and sisters. But you know, what are some of the topics that you guys have planned for your podcast?
We have a lot of things planned. Honestly, we have a lot of things planned coming up. We want to start our like IG series once quarantine is over and we're back together. We want to start IGTV series. We want to like content wise for our podcast. There, like I, there's so much things that especially people have wanted us to talk about. And so, you know, one of the things was like, you know, the growing up from a childhood to adulthood, like the whole transition period. People want to know more about our relationship, how that's like working, especially with me having a child. You know, just a lot of things that we definitely have planned to really like put out there for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same as I kind of in regards to what we want to talk about, it gets kind of difficult because I think we really take pride in the fluidity of our page. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, we can have a conversation with anybody on the face of this earth about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like there is not one person that we cannot talk to. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we're just that versatile in our knowledge,
Right.
and our our minds are that palatable that it can apply to anything. You know, and I think that the really it might sound cliche, but like but our content's endless. Like we're always growing, mentally. So there is never gonna be a time where we plateau or I feel like we're gonna fall off because we're always, as I said, every day we talk about something new. Even if we're off camera or even if we're off, audio, we're always talking. So there's always gonna be content that we have to put out, But I know a big thing that Danielle and I have definitely experienced and has impacted us a lot is our things like dealing with how to deal with a a toxic home and a broken family.
I was just thinking about that. Oh my
Yeah,
God. I
and
was
like
thinking about that, man. Wow.
and also dealing with um like the misconceptions that apply to God and really just trying to rebrand the what it is to be black, to be a black male and to be a black woman, and to be happy. I feel like our origin is just so destructive. Like we never have a sense of peace being who we are in this country, and we can attain that. And you don't have to have money, you don't have to have anything to do that. You just have to want to put in the work and the effort and discipline. Yeah.
I agree. I mean,
Right, and that's like one.
Go ahead. No.
Yeah, that's the biggest things for us. Where our main goal is that we share our experiences so that it can be beneficial to somebody else, especially in a Black home where things are not talked about, things are communicated, people don't really know how to handle situations, and it's we taken it upon ourselves to really help carry that burden along with other people that as well, to really just say, yo, this is how you can do this. This is like just really help, like literally be hood therapy, because that's really just what we feel like is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's an excellent point, and I was actually going to say something else, but I decided to switch now because it's like you brought up something very important, right? They said that kids that grew up in like Caribbean homes like always dealt with some like level of was it? I guess the home was toxic. You know what I mean? And it's like one of the things that somebody said, and this was a while back, when Caribbean parents are wrong, they never apologize to you. They just keep it moving like it's business as usual. But sometimes that type of stuff can make a kid feel like, yo, like I didn't do anything wrong. Like, shouldn't I get some type of apology? And we think that because the kids are young, like, nah, I don't have to say anything to you. I'm the parent. What I say goes. But I think that leads to something, damaging later on down the line, because the kid can grow up to hate you and resent you, and then you have a strained relationship, and you're wondering why your child is not coming over to check you, why you don't see your grandchildren. It's always some type of issue. And then the other thing that I was thinking about from before, right? In terms of growing up in America, or just being Black men and Black women in general, we go through a lot. We constantly have to prove that we're educated and that we're not destructive or like ratchet. And it's because it's like there's two different images, right? But this goes for every race. You have successful Black people that can live in Jamaica estates or live up, in a penthouse in Manhattan. Then you got brothers and sisters that are out here, selling drugs, not doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And just wasting their lives away. But that's not everybody. And then the other thing was there's a lack of support in our communities for Black-owned hair salons or eateries, just anything, right? Like the 99-cent store, you might be able to find a brother or sister owning that.
Really?
You might. It's
Yeah.
It'll probably, maybe it's just one, but and I'm saying that because like things are changing now. But most of the stores that I went to when I was a kid, was owned by people that were, of Indian descent or Muslim. I remember there was a 99-cent store up on Linden and I think 223rd, and a brother and sister worked there. They were Black, but the rest of the employees, were Muslim. And I mean, as a kid, you don't think about these things, but as you get older, you notice like there's one particular race working at Popeyes, Dunkin' Donuts, CBS, and Rite Aid, and it's like, man, so there's nothing different. And then you hear people saying like, you got to boycott the Korean-owned nail salons, right? But yet you see Black people keep going back to these things. What are your thoughts on this?
Man.
Support Black businesses.
Man, yeah, you said a lot. I think that the main issue, I think, is that Black people, I feel like people in the Black community are too caught up on suffering, or caught up on suffrage, that I feel like we feel like it's a part of our identity to have to suffer in order to make it to a next stage in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, if oftentimes a kid that lives in a Black home is looked at a certain way if they grew up wealthy, or if they grew up having things, because it's like, oh, you don't struggle like I do.
Right.
I struggle a lot more than you do, and I think it's because a lot of, as I said before, I feel like a lot of Black people are so obsessed with the concept of what money brings them instead of, the things that they need to survive, and people, a lot of rich and wealthy Black people, you see how the music industry works nowadays, where they're taking a lot of, these young kids out the hood, what I'm saying, that don't know anything about financial literacy or anything about, and investing or enterprising, and they throw millions of dollars at them. That's the worst thing you could possibly do to somebody, because they're not educated, they're not knowledgeable, and I feel like we're so focused on trying to get the money when we don't know. Money, I feel like money is your head. Like, money is what's inside your head.
Right.
You can have a lot of money and not have, and still be broke. Broke is just how much money. I mean, broke is really how you use the money. You know what I'm saying? And when you get the money, you're trying to look for ways to make it grow. and look for a way to make the money work for you, then you've seen that, man, why would I want to go to work? You know what I mean? Like, why would I want to go to work when I can find a way to, when I can be creative and find a way to sit down and go on vacation whenever I want to, and have the money still being made while I'm on vacation. That's an option. That's an option for us. You know what I'm saying? But if you have that idea, people in the Black community won't give you their support, you know, because it's like, it's impractical or this or is that, you know what I mean? And I think it's just a lot of people are so think that because of the lack of money they're broke, but it's the lack of knowledge why you're broke. Like, being broke is all in your head, you know?
Hold on. Let me just say one thing. I don't have a pro version of Zoom, so this is gonna end in like 8 minutes. But I want us to continue to do the conversation. So after this video ends, I'm still gonna stay logged in, and then you guys just call back so that we can continue recording.
Okay.
But go ahead, Danielle. You were gonna say something, right?
Yeah. I also feel like, you know, when it comes to, you know, Black businesses and why they aren't really supported is because I feel like us as Black people, number one, I feel like we were trained really to get into the mentality of, you know, not really owning our own things and just working for somebody. That's the mentality I believe that we have been trained to have. And so, you know, I walk out my block, walk in Elmont, Linden. I don't see any Black businesses. They're not where, like, you know, I for me growing up, I haven't really seen any Black businesses to even know what to support. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I don't like live in Brooklyn or like the, you know, like
the epicenter.
yeah. Of Black culture. So I live in Long Island. Well, I used to live in Long Island. Now I live in Queens. But that wasn't around me, you know. And I feel like a lot of times, with that being said, people are scared of change, where they don't want to be like, I've been going to this nail salon for 20 years. Well, like, what am I going to the next person for? You know, I think that's a lot of what really kind of restricts us, because we are definitely scared of change.
That's true. I mean, you know, as I look at this world, I realize that, you know, we don't get a chance to positively see brothers and sisters in the right light, or just see someone own a business. You see, when I was young, my uncle, he had a barbershop. That's the first Black business that I remember seeing in my neighborhood. You know, and as I'm older, I can appreciate the fact that he was my first view of what a Black business was. You know what I mean? And it was cool to see that. But at least I know that I grew up and I saw at least one Black business, while everybody else, you know, the dry cleaners, you know, you probably have Chinese people. There's another place right by Farmbia, owned by the Chinese, and I don't have any problem with anybody coming into this neighborhood and wanting to own a business. But the thing is that when I don't see my people are trying to take advantage of what's here, you know, it kind of bothers me. The only time I've probably seen somewhat of a Black business besides the barbershop was when there was a Black doctor used to have an office, Dr. Huggins, up on, I think it was Linden and 226, and then shortly thereafter, you know, he had moved out of that area and then moved up more towards St. Albans, and then after that he was gone. But other than that, you don't normally see Black businesses. The only places that I can truly say, like, all right, so Caribbean restaurants, which are a given, we see those all the time. But, you know, sometimes it would be great to see something like maybe a real estate place that's owned by us, you know what I mean? Or just a store that does shipping other than UPS, but something that's Black owned. You know what I mean? It's like we have more Chinese food spots and, you know, all these other places than we do normal Black businesses. Like, for me, it's normal seeing a Caribbean restaurant and stuff. You know, we have it like here in Queens, like it's almost literally everywhere. And I'm not
Yeah.
talking about Golden Crust, but I'm talking about the personal businesses like the mom and pop stores. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And most of the time, those guys don't get support because you know either what they have is not of good quality, or the people are not going there. They're going to the fanciest spots. But sometimes you go to the fancy spots and they don't have the food that you want. But yet you
Mm.
go to this place and it's like they know how to prepare it just right. I can say
Yeah.
personally, I can go to Linden and 200th Street to the Spanish Bodega, and they'll set me up real nice with a good plate. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
the thing is that, you know, once you're in that neighborhood, you get to know the neighborhood and you get to know
Yeah.
people. And after a while, that's it. You can go to a corner store, you'll see brothers being there all day. Yo, let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese. Like they make sure they get to learn, you
Yeah.
know, what's happening in that area. But if
Yeah.
you're not catering to your people, it's kind of hard for them. It's kind of hard for you to get them to want to support you.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I also feel like it's tough to support Black businesses sometimes because I feel like Black people tend to they don't want to take risk, I feel. So they only want to do the things that they know will probably give them a uh, good sense of like security, you know?
Right.
So it's like, all right, a lot of people need driving lessons. So let me start a driving school. All right, a lot of people need, um, a lot of people need like insurance. So let me start, like little things like that they might not even be interested in, but
Right,
it's just the fact that it's a very demanding thing, and I feel like as I said, it's a mindset. We're so focused. Okay, we need to make money. We need to make money. That your creativity is sucked out of the Black community. You don't see usually like a Black-owned dance school
right,
or own recording studio, or things like that to um, give people a chance to and young people a chance to explore the things that they want to do and move forward with it. And
right,
that's why I see a lot of I live in Cambria Heights too, and um, I grew up on Linden, and a lot of what you see is the same, like kind of the things that nobody wants to go to an insurance,
right.
like or a MoneyGram. Nobody wants to do that, you know,
Exactly.
but it's like we're so focused on survival. We're always in survival mode, survival mode, survival mode, and we forgot how to survive. You know, that we think that it's just about food and money, and then that's it. All right, I fed them. I have kids at home. I fed them. They they have allowance. They got a bed. They're fine. As if we're like test puppets. It's as if like you're like what's the things you support a water on and they grow hair?
Well, Chia?
Oh, the
Chia pet, yeah.
Right,
They just pour some water on their kids and then think their kids gonna grow into the president. Like, bro, it takes a lot more. It takes so much effort, but it's such a beautiful process because there is nothing but positivity that comes out of being positive. You know what I'm saying? You
right,
just, and it really just takes that one person to 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 break the cycle and step out of the trends that are set for us, man.
right. And I
I,
believe that that's.
I
Go ahead, go ahead.
I remember when I like found out at like I think it was just high school maybe. I found out that one of my classmates had like mom.
All right, so we're recording now. So Danielle, what were you saying before it got cut off?
Oh yeah, I was saying that I think it was in high school that I had one of my classmates told me that his mom owned a hair salon on Elmont actually, And I was like, what? Your mom owns? I was like, wait, what? I was like, nah, I gotta go check it out. But of course, I didn't drive at the time, so I couldn't even like go there and look. And I never even went to hair salons anyway, because I always did my own hair. But no, when I heard about it, I was just like, I was really shocked and surprised, because that's not normal in our like culture. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that we usually do. We tend to be like nurses, or like, like doctors now are becoming more prominent in our culture. But things like that, like, we all grew up with that saying, you either become like a medical field, a lawyer or engineer. Like, those it. You couldn't come nothing else. And so I think, we were, like I said, we were trained to kind of be in that mindset of just like working for other people, or not even really having that financial literacy. I remember, like, somebody wanted to become a accountant, and somebody told them, it was like, why are you gonna, because you're Black, why you become an accountant?
What?
Yeah, like, nobody's gonna hire you, why become an accountant? And I was just like, oh wow.
Wow.
Like, it's something that is heavily deep rooted, and not even because, like, you're Black, you can't become something, but more so you won't get hired. And it's that kind of like, instead of you won't get hired, but could you own something, has never really been the flip of a switch.
Right.
So yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Somebody really told somebody that they can't be an accountant. They can't learn how to handle money because of the color of their skin, you know? And it's sad, bro. It's sad how we're not we're not supposed to dream, because of the fact that of something that we can't control, you know? We can't control being prejudiced, and we can't control our place in society. And I feel like we're so stuck on being the victim that we never try to see what we can do to rise above it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's been, I had a rough childhood, and uh, poverty was definitely a very prominent factor of my life. And the one thing I noticed is that in my home, this the poverty has always been the same. The financial um, situation has always been the same suffering. We haven't suffered any different. It's not like, at a certain point we're at this level and now we're here. You know what I'm saying? And at least we've moved, like we've been the same broke for the same, my whole life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, that just goes to show you that it doesn't matter how hard you work. It's all in vain if you're not doing it the right way. If you're not capitalizing off of what you're doing and what you have, because there's no excuse that for 9 to 10 years that you've been in the same financial situation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I guess everybody's time will come. I truly believe that. But these people complain, like, I always hear it. I work so hard. I do everything I can to make sure everybody is safe and everybody's secure, and I da 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 da. I have to struggle. I don't get any help from anybody. But it's like, is that something that you want? If you don't want to be in a bad situation, why haven't you done anything different to try and get yourself out of it? You haven't tried anything else to help yourself and supplement yourself in a different manner, you know? And I feel like a lot of people are really comfortable with being being with being broke. You know what I'm saying? Because as Danielle said, they feel like the change that they're gonna experience. Because when you get money, if you want to get money, if you're broke and you want to be able to find a new sense of income. You want to find residual income. That just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? You have to, because as I said, poverty is in the mind.
Of course.
So if you have a broke mindset, you have to change your broke mindset. And with changing that mindset, it's probably gonna connect to so much different things. It's gonna connect to, damn, if I want to change my source of income, I have to be accountable for the things that I do. Also, all the times that you didn't apologize to your children, you have to take accountability for that.
Right.
You're gonna have to be like, yo, I'm so sorry for what happened, because that's what, being able to do something that's gonna build your residual income. You have to be accountable when things mess up. There's so much factors that go into the rest of your life that they're not willing to do. I'm not willing to give up the power that I get by controlling by having financial leverage over my kids. I need financial leverage over them. I need to do all of these things to be in control. And I thrive off that power because it forces me not to deal with my problems, you know? And I feel like a lot of people are going to be in the same spot because they're not willing to make the change within themselves. Because when you change that, yourself, you're going to start to see what things you can do um, to help people get to another level, So, yeah, it's really just a matter of being that person that you want to see a change. If you want to see a change in something and you know what change to bring, I
Right.
feel like people are going to want to hear what you have to say, and they're going to pay you for it.
Right. And it's funny that you say that because, when I hear things like this, to me, it sounds like a generational curse, right? Now, let's say that you have a kid and they want to choose a different path. Let's say that they don't want to go to college. Let's say they want to go to trade school, right? Or not even trade school. Let's say they want to do music and they give you all the detailed plans about how they're going to do the marketing, how they're going to push the engagement that they're going to do on social media. But you tell them like, oh, but that doesn't make any money. How are you going to make money off of that? Here's the thing. Instead of saying don't, you know, leave it open as a possibility because we have the ability in this day and age to create our own income. You see people on the Billboard, the top 100, and they're not even signed to a label. Most of these people are independent. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And the thing about generational curses is that if someone didn't teach you to know better, you're going to bring the same thing on to your kids. I remember there was a story on Oprah back in the 80s, back in a talk show, and there were these two young women, mother and daughter. They were both living on welfare. The mother was probably 40 something, and the daughter was in like her late 20s or so, right? And so the daughter decided she was going to better herself, and she ended up doing real estate, and she started to create a career for herself. Meanwhile, her mother continued to stay on public assistance for the rest of her life, didn't feel motivated to do anything different. So her mother died with this sense of, okay, my daughter did something, but I didn't really feel much like I wanted to push myself. I was fine with my situation. The problem is that when you're complacent in life, I feel like there's a shift that's going to take place. All right, you don't want to move, I'm going to move you. I feel like God sometimes gives us our wake up calls like, okay, you think it's sweet. One day you in a limousine, you headed uptown, you meeting all these great people. I'm gonna take it all away and bring you back down to earth to show you what it's really like to come from the bottom, because there's nothing wrong with success, right? But the thing is that when you're successful, you have to have this sense of, I feel like, decorum and know that, okay, this is where I was, this is where I am now. I don't want to be where I was 5-10 years ago. And then the other thing, like what I started doing was I started to invest. I decided last year I'm not going to spend my state and federal. I put it in the savings account. I'm going to do the same thing again this year. Then on top of that, in 2018, I decided to start buying stock at my job, and so that's building up nicely. At the end of the day, if I decide to leave at any time, I'll be all right for a little while with what I got. I'm not going to go crazy, but the thing is, I'm trying to make sure that I can have some extra form of income. So at the end of the day, God forbid I do leave a job and transition to another, and let's say it's not as fast,
Mm-hmm.
I have something for myself. Like there's one more story I got. Um, you know, there was a video I saw on World Star Hip Hop where a woman was bragging like, yeah, I got this Obama phone, I got an expensive phone right here in my hand. I'm buying lobster, I'm buying steak, I got these nice bags, and they're giving me all these people hard work and money, and I don't even have to work. I'm collecting um food stamps. And I just looked at it and I was so disgusted. And this wasn't a black woman. Now, there was a video on Roadstar Hip Hop with a black woman, but this video was with a white woman, right? And the funny thing is, they say that our people, you know, have the highest percentage of individuals on food stamps, but that's not true. When
Yeah.
WIC was actually made for white women that weren't working, that were staying at home in the household, taking care of the children while the men were going out to work. Nobody talks about that because they're trying to make it seem like
We're
WIC
the
was
problem.
something for us. And
Yeah.
it wasn't created for us. At the end
And
of the day, go ahead.
the funny thing about it too is that a lot of the most of the people that's on welfare are Jewish people. The people that you see in Jamaica Estates, the people that you see in Brooklyn that um, have these big ass houses, and they have what they do is that they have a whole bunch of kids. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of kids that live in their home. They
Right.
have big homes with like 2-3 generations of families in there, and all of them account under certain people. So therefore, they have to qualify for it. So a lot of them are doctors and lawyers and engineers and
Right.
stuff like that, and business owners and these, with making a lot of money, but they have to get money for their children because they claim a lot of dependencies, and it's like it's not the black people. A lot of the times black people are getting rejected for food stamps and they barely have enough to feed their family. You know what I'm saying? They barely make over the the requirement or the threshold, and they can't get money. Then they won't get welfare because of the fact that they don't pass that fine line, And
Right.
it's sad. It's sad they want to use that to call us lazy, and it's not true.
Yeah, no, you have a point on that. The way that I look at this whole situation is simply that, we get chastised for a lot of different things. And as far as the business stuff, right? But the person telling that individual, like, yo, why are you going to become an accountant? You can't make any money with that. I feel like that's also a form of jealousy because we can have somebody tell us that we can't do anything. And then we have another person that we know that's successful in a certain field and that they'll probably be able to grasp this. But because of jealousy, and now we have this idea like, yo, all right, I see what they're doing. I want to do this. Let me discourage them to make them think that they're not smart at all, that they can't do anything. You know?
Mm.
And the thing is, accountants and CNAs, like these people and tax preparers, they're the ones that really make the money. So if you let someone deter you from going to that path, then that's a problem. And I'm not going to say these math courses are easy, calculus, chemistry. There's a lot of different stuff you got to take. You know what
They
I mean?
not.
You just triggered her.
So, like at the end of the day, you know, if you have a dream and you want to achieve it, you got to make sure to the best of your ability that you don't let anybody else deter you from doing it. Like for example, I know a lot of times we laugh at what we call pyramid schemes, MCA, Primerica, Global Amway, and the thing about it is that there's some people that they can talk. They have this gift when it comes to talking. They can get people to buy anything they want. If you're that type of person that you don't possess that skill, I wouldn't say to go into that field or to do any of those jobs. And the funny thing is, about 10 years ago, I went to a Global Amway presentation in 2010. I went to another one in 2013. And then I remember 2012, 2014, and 2015, Primerica. And, when you ask your friends, like, yo, what's the job? Like, nah, just come to the seminar and I'll show you. That's how people get you now. me personally, I looked at these things and I'm like, okay, there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to do this. Not to say that I can't learn it, but at the same time, I know this is not my field. But I know that there are people there are some individuals that like, yo, they have the gift of talking. They know how to persuade people. They can do it. Like with Prime America's whole thing, they was like, yo, what are you waiting for? I'll be like, let me get some time to think about it. And they still be persistent, like, what are you waiting for? You just want them to shut up. But then you realize, like, there's a reason why they're being so persistent. Like, you have to keep on pushing, you know? There's going to be a time where you're going to knock on a lot of doors and it's going to be no. But you never know how many doors you're going to knock on. And one of those doors might actually say yes. I mean, the story of Les Brown is amazing. He wanted to work at a radio station, and he kept on bugging the manager every day. He's like, boy, didn't I just talk to you yesterday? Yeah, but I thought there might be jobs now. It was like, no, there's no job. One day he comes in again, and the guy's like, yo, you know what? Go get me some coffee. After that, he started being a personal assistant for the record station, for the radio station. Then one day, one of the on-air DJs actually got drunk, and the station manager was like, yo, you know how to work the controls? He's like, yes, sir. He's like, all right, go in there and don't tell anybody. And that is how he became a radio DJ. Then after that, he worked in the House of Representatives in Ohio.
Wow.
And he ended up becoming a motivational speaker. And I guess he realized his gift when he was working in the House of Representatives. Now this guy, he speaks to McDonald's Corporation, Amway Global. Like he's spoken all over the world. He's going to Japan, Hawaii. Like his story is tremendous. When he was in elementary school, he accidentally got labeled as EMR, which is called educable mentally retarded. And so when he was in high school, there was a teacher that saw him and said, like, write down what I'm about to tell you. He's like, sir, I can't do that. Teacher was like, why? Because I'm educable mentally retarded. He said, don't let anyone's perception of you shape your reality.
Oh.
And from that moment on, that gave him the motivation to do whatever it is that he wanted to. Him and his twin brother were abandoned by their birth mother. This woman named Mamie Brown, she took them in, she raised them. And, you know, it's like he never had any form of discouragement except for the elementary school system. And let me add that, you know, I didn't realize this, but there was a video I was watching a while back where they said they take a lot of our young men that are hyper, that, you know, have a lot of excitement and just, you know, they have a lot of energy, and they go and they label them and they put them into special education classes. And they remain in that classification up until they're out of high school. So it's like for them, it's like there's no chance. But the thing is, they realize there's a power that we possess that they will never be able to have.
Yes.
You know, and we understand that the Board of Education, time and time again, they have messed up when it comes to our kids, when it comes to the school system in general. They've really messed up. So at the end of the day, you know, no matter what type of label people put on us or our kids or our businesses, at the end of the day, we know that we have knowledge and we've been given power. I mean, look at this, right? This is one of the most innovative creations in the early days of Africa. The other day, I was watching something on YouTube where white people created something similar like this, and they put the thing in between an onion and then cut the onion. They use it as a utensil. I mean, it does look like a big fork, but the thing is, we'll take anything that we have, remix it, and think we won't notice.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't have a problem with anybody loving our culture or wanting to know it, but the thing is that don't disrespect this. Like, you know, when it comes to certain things like police brutality or any other issue that you see that Black people going through, speak up.
They leave us alone. Yeah, they leave us alone. Everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly.
Until you're really Black, it's like, oh, okay, I'm not. That has nothing to do with me. And I think that's the main issue, is that, you know, a lot of times people don't understand when you see like white women wear braids and they rock, the styles and everything like that. It's like, it's cool. And we appreciate the fact that you like the culture.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with embracing another culture.
Right.
But you need to make sure that you do your history. When you get into this culture, you make sure that you embrace every single piece of the culture and what it has done and what the people have been through. You understand? So you're not going out here doing things out of ignorance and having people feel like you never had to experience this, so you can just jump in and out of things when you want to. And it's not how it works. It's not how it works. You need to do your research before you decide that this is something that you want to do, and not just because it's cool. It's not cool. There's a meaning behind everything, And as I said, I'm not on the side of anybody, but I do feel like we should be more accountable because a lot of us as Black people aren't knowledgeable about our history either. So how can you expect a white person to want to gain knowledge about something that we're not even? A lot of people don't want white people to cultural appropriate because they see other people saying that they should cultural appropriate. You never know what cultural appropriation is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I see this a lot with people that have locks, Black people that have locks. A lot of Black people will discourage other Black people to not get locks because it's messy or it's gonna make you look a certain way, and it's sad because locks is something that I kind of grew up distancing myself from, and I wish I had the opportunity to want to start my locks sooner, because it's really a outside of it looking nice, it's really a testament of what it means to be Black. Nobody else can grow locks like Black people.
Right.
Nobody else can grow locks like Black people. Locks only look good on if you're Black, and you really have to know the knowledge and the history and the magic behind what it takes and the patience and the virtue that we uphold to the fact that we can do that. We have the power to do so,
Right.
Yeah, we really just gotta be knowledge fiends. And I feel like, as I said, a lot of Black people are mentally enslaved by other white people, white corporate ideologies, and they discount a lot of the beautiful things of Black culture because of the fact that other people have said it's not as good as they think it is,
Right.
And so if as Black people, if we're really gonna tell white people not to culture appropriate, we shouldn't culture appropriate because we're culturally appropriating our own culture because we don't know about our own culture.
Right. I mean, it's
That's
great.
definitely talked about. Sorry, I think I'm like, but yeah, that's definitely something that we have talked about too on like our last episode, misconceptions, where we really had to, break apart, the history, like, like where we said, Black people history didn't start at slavery. We had a history back in the homeland in Africa, and it's easy for us to, in a white patriotic society, everything is so white dominated, male dominated. It's very easy for us to get drawn into the whims of, what is supposed to be, the beauty standard. And of course that's, changed over time, of course, but it's really easy for us to lose sight of who we are and
Right.
what our roots actually are. And, it's really important for us to get back to our roots. Like, I feel like I'm like hitting on all our past episodes right now.
Yeah,
But yeah, like, it's something that is definitely important for you to do in order to really have a flourishing like life, and not to cultural appropriate your own culture that you're not even aware about. You're not even aware, really, truthfully, what it is about. But yet, you're saying these things that you don't even understand.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing about it is that, when I had locks, I wore it proudly. I never came in with the sense of feeling like, yo, my hair is dirty or anything like that. That's the misconception that a lot of people make. You know what I mean? I always took good care of my hair, always got my hair twisted. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is what my hair looked like back in 2012. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
that was me back in the day. And there's another picture that I actually want to get, but I always wore my dreads, with pride. I remember the day I cut it off, I started losing, like, by the summer of 2014, I started losing hair at the side and on the top. So it was just looking real crazy. And basically I cut it, right? And so about 2 days, I think it was 2 days later, I went to Bible study and somebody was like, oh, dear Lord, right now, we thank you for Gabriel. Now that his hair is cut, we hope that he'll be able to find a job. I'm like, what? Church lady doing this prayer, like, I can't remember it word for word, but it was something along those lines. And I'm like, yo, that ain't the most retarded thing that I've ever heard. And I got annoyed. Like, I literally opened up my eyes. I ain't saying nothing to her, but I just looked like, yo, what was the point in saying that? And I felt like that was so ignorant. People in church have this thing like, oh, men shouldn't wear long hair, but yet I don't see you getting at the women that have the light Caesars or anything like that. You can't.
But hold on.
You can't come at nobody.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They say men shouldn't have long hair, and then they have a picture of Jesus with long hair in their house.
But you see, that's not Jesus Christ. That's Caesar Borgia.
Yeah, but even so, like, that's what they are picturing as Jesus as. This is what they have.
The idea of Jesus, yeah. The idea of Jesus. The idea of Jesus, some dude with long hair. That's what they think about. And then they tell you that
speaking
black
they
can
do.
grow their own hair. It's so, what I've realized with the church is that, and it's really me doing these things that I realize me doing these things that are not necessarily related to the Bible and related to God and stuff like that has brought me closer to God, because it's really shown me how people think. And I think that's really what God wants us to do, is to build our intellect, because that's what's going to hold us in the last days. We are in the last days.
We are.
And that's what's going to allow us to survive. Do you have the ability to think, because in order to study the Bible, you have to think. The Bible is the deepest book ever created. It is an infinite amount of knowledge in it, because it's God's words.
Right.
And in order to understand something like that, you need wisdom, you need knowledge. And I think that a lot of people in church are so broken and traumatized, and they use God as an excuse to mask the things that they're struggling with. And a lot of them say, oh, I'm saved now. I was this way, but I'm saved now. You know what I'm saying? But if God is in your life, you would be growing. Your children would be talking to you. You would have good relationships around. Things would prosper from you. God does not lie in filth. They say cleanliness is next to godliness, right?
Right.
So how are you contently an ignorant person, which means that you close yourself off to knowledge,
right?
But yet you believe in God. It's a contradiction, and a lot of the times it's the people who act the most holy, is the people who, are the deacons, the elders, the everybody who
come on now, preach.
who have the chip on their shoulder because they know all the verses, but they've never applied any of them, you know? And it's really the same. What I've learned is that if you seek knowledge, you have to believe in God. You have to believe in God if you just seek knowledge. So if you want to go, if you want to get into health, it's all gonna run right. It's gonna run.
Hello?
It's all gonna run you right back to God.
Deep.
God is the source.
We can't hear you.
And a true knowledge.
Oh, wow, that's awkward.
Yo, I think your volume changed.
A lot of people just have.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna, and we got 7 minutes left. Go ahead, continue.
7 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people have it confused, you know, and we just need to make sure that we show people all forms of God and stop trying to tell people about God. That's not how you show God. You show people God as love, you know?
Right.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I can say that my experience with the church has not, been great. Especially I got pregnant at a young age, and everybody looking at me, talking about me, and it didn't feel like that was the kind of environment that I didn't feel like I could look up to anybody in the church, because I feel like everybody was the same way. I didn't feel like they were representing who they said Christ is,
Right.
or not even that. They kind of misconstrued what my idea of what Christ is because of how they said, I'm a Christian, look at me, but look at you. You know what I'm saying? And so it, that really just, I wasn't really banging with the church like that, because they was really like, I couldn't understand that kind of like, ideology where you're really judging me for my mistake, yet, I just couldn't get it. Like, isn't that the whole point of church? Like, Jesus literally sat down with prostitutes, tax collectors. He sat down and loved all those people, which is how, he became who he is, because of the love that he spewed from literally his being. And I just didn't, rock with that. And so, of course, I still go to church and stuff like that, but I found it better to just, have a spiritual connection with him by myself, not really, through the church. And I mean, to me, that's kind of to have that support system with, the church, and, being able to share testimonies, and, I think that's important to have. And it's so sad that a lot of us young people, we end up leaving the church because we don't feel like they're representing who they say Christ is. Right. And it's like, I don't want to be like this when I grow older. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really what it boils down to, why a lot of people, they leave the church. And it's so sad.
Yeah. And you always hear the concept of, whatever you experience in this church is what you're going to experience in the next one. So you got to just stay where you're at. It is not true at all. Right. I think as Christians, our goal is to go somewhere where you see growth, where you see, it doesn't have to be a big church. You could go somewhere where you see that there is growth in there, like they're progressing, and I go to Elmont Temple, and Elmont Temple has been the same way and been trying to accomplish the same goals since I've gotten there. And they've been trying to do them way before I've gotten there. So it's probably been 40 years since they've been trying to expand the church, and they still haven't done it. And I used to play backup for you at St. Paul.
Yeah.
And I started so I got into when I was at St. Paul, I wasn't really taking music seriously. It was just that they were paying me, I needed money, then I could play, so I went and played. But it wasn't really until I went away to school and I found the church up there. And what they did is they took young people in the congregation with musical talent, and they started a church band.
Wow.
Yes, they started a church band. So I'm a drummer for the church band in Albany. And and I've really grown. I've built a camaraderie and a relationship with all of the members on the band, and we've grown so much. I'm so much better, and I don't even have anywhere to practice or anything like that. I don't have a drum set, but the simple fact that I guess now I feel like a musician, and it's something I've never had the opportunity to do at Elmont because they're so scared of change, of putting a different person in place to make something else different, and I wouldn't hesitate to switch my membership to my church in Albany, because they have given me the chance to grow.
Sorry, it's so crazy because like at Cap City where we go, like when we're up in Albany, like when we first started going there, they just had a grand piano. That was it, a grand piano, and the old man playing was stomping his feet for the bass. That was it. And as time moved on, like now they got like they still got the grand piano, but now they, like Dylan said, they got a band. They got the drum set with the little cage around it. They got like 3 keyboards, an organ. Like now they got bass plate. Like now everything is, you can see the growth, and that's been what, not even a year. Like you see the growth that has happened during such short change of time that it's like, yo, like this is every church can be doing this. Like ain't no way.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times too, like the church is not investing in the youth. And I think that's where a lot of the issues lie too. But hey, I don't know if you want to get into
that. I mean, no, you guys made some wonderful points. The church definitely has to get a little bit more progressive when it comes to youth, and because oftentimes we'll have kids that have great talent and great ability, but you push them over for some of the what you call seasoned veterans. Let me tell you something. I went to an event in I think it was November or October at Amazing Grace SDA in Brooklyn. It was the musicianships clinic, and there was a lot of young people there. The band that played, these guys could have been no more than between the ages of I guess 15 to 18, and they got a chance to play, and also they gave them a critique of how they sounded. And this was like a comfortable space where they could just play. You know what I mean? Had it been a church service, who knows how many people would have complained like, well, you guys playing too loud, it's too lively. You know how church people can be sometimes when it comes to music. But this was a place where they could actually not only play, but just a chance for them to sit down and really vibe out and get advice from seasoned people.
Wow.
And sometimes you can't even get that. Some church people, you want to talk to them, ask them questions.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody's staying safe and secure during these times. I'm just here real quick to shout out Gabriel. I really want to thank you for the opportunity of interviewing us. We had an interview this past Saturday, and it was really good. It was our first experience being interviewed, and since we started this, and it was really exhilarating, and I want you guys to go check it out. His Facebook page is Gabriel Daniels, and his Instagram will be in his page as well, his Facebook page. And yeah, you guys know what to do. Let us know. Give us feedback.
Absolutely. Check us out on Instagram at __hood therapy __. Be sure to check us out. We have episodes dropping for y'all every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Stay tuned. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We couldn't be here without y'all. We out.